A'udhu billahi minash shaitwanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Hello and a very good morning to each and every one of you who's tuned into Pakistan TV and are watching world this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I happen to be Shahzad Khan, and with me I'm really lucky that I've been joined by my wonderful colleague who happens to be Miss Eesha Rehan. It's a fine, sunny Monday morning over here in Islamabad, but the weather is still getting towards a little cooler and a little chillier as well. But first things first, hello Eesha, assalamu alaikum. How are you feeling today?
Walaikum assalam, Shahzad. I'm feeling absolutely great and absolutely splendid because of the easy breezy, tranquil breezes that are coming across Pakistan. We are going to be engulfed in a wave of a cold spell in the coming months. But speaking about tranquility, Pakistan has been engulfed in peace because we have been able to sleep peacefully in the past few days because of the bravery of our armed forces. Why don't you take it away, Shahzad?
Exactly. So there are a couple of stories, ladies and gentlemen, that I'll be building up on, and there are a couple of stories which Eesha will certainly take the lead in. But first things first, obviously, we really need to kind of speak about our territorial integrity, our sovereignty as well, where Pakistan armed forces thwarted a major cross-border attack by Afghan Taliban and Indian-sponsored fitna al-Khawarij and killed over 200 terrorists in a decisive response. As Afghan Taliban Foreign Minister Amir Khan Muttaqi visits Pakistan's arch rival India, the timing of Kabul's aggression appears anything but accidental. It signals a coordinated political maneuver laying bare the emerging Afghanistan-India nexus. We will be building up on this story. This is the first highlight that we will be talking about. What about you, Eesha? What are you going to talk about?
Our second highlight includes an integral topic. On the 13th of October, today, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif will be traveling to Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, to attend an international peace summit on Gaza at the invitation of Abdul al-Sisi and the US President Trump. He will be accompanied by Foreign Minister Akbar and senior ministers. The summit was the result of an intense diplomacy initiated at the UN General Assembly. Pakistan's participation underscores its consistent, unwavering support for the Palestinian cause, pushing for Israeli withdrawal, protection of civilians, and release of prisoners, the reconstruction of Gaza. The summit will be co-chaired by Trump and el-Sisi, and Pakistan hopes that this summit will envision the peace for Gaza and pave the way for the future of a brighter Gaza.
And that's the kind of diplomatic ascent that Pakistan has been witnessing in recent times as well. On the other hand, it looks like as if Pakistan team is back in action against South Africa, where in the first inning, Pakistan as of now must have scored 316 or 17 because the first over was being bowled just today as well, where it happens to be the second day of the first test match in between Pakistan and South Africa, where Imamullah scored 93, Shan with another 76, with the middle order, Mohammad Rizwan with the 63 and Salman Ali Agha with 53. Pakistan initially on the first day actually elected to bat first as well. It looks like as if they made the right decision. We're heading out towards a short break. Don't go anywhere. When you come back, we will be speaking about how the Pakistan armed forces have thwarted a major cross-border attack by Afghan Taliban and Indian-sponsored fitna al-Khawarij. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. All right, welcome back, and to develop on the story that we have shared with you, ladies and gentlemen, how the Pakistan army thwarted a major cross-border attack by Afghan Taliban and Indian-sponsored fitna al-Khawarij. There's a basic that I need to, there's something that I really need to kind of build up before I introduce my guest. Now, imagine that Pakistan has been home to more than 4 million refugees from Afghanistan. Not just that, Pakistan is desirous of seeing a peaceful, stable, regionally connected and prosperous Afghanistan. Accordingly, Pakistan has extended all possible trade, economic and connectivity facilitation to Afghanistan. Such measures are aimed at promoting cooperation and socio-economic development of the two countries. But on the other hand, what I don't get is how the Afghan Taliban Foreign Minister Muttaqi's visit to New Delhi actually creates an anti-Pakistan rhetoric which is being elevated into joint declarations. Now that's something that is out of my comprehension, and to kind of speak about it, we're very lucky that we have been joined by Lieutenant General retired Raza Muhammad Khan, happens to be the former president at NDU. Hello sir, assalamu alaikum, good morning, how are you feeling today?
Walaikum assalam, good morning to you too. I'm well, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. I have established a bit of a preamble of how Pakistan have always made sure that we could extend as much as economic, facilitations, may it be education, may it be settling Afghan refugees over here. But in today's time, sir, where we speak about, how the Afghan Taliban's Foreign Minister Muttaqi's visit to New Delhi and creating an anti-Pakistan rhetoric is being elevated into joint declarations, how do you think this move really needs to be given a befitting response, which our armed forces were successfully able to do so?
Okay, Bismillah Rahman Rahim. I think I'd like to begin by saying that our response to the recent Afghan aggression was, as usual, befitting, yet measured and very effective. And Alhamdulillah, I think the whole world has seen it. India has seen it. Afghanistan has seen it. The Taliban and all their affiliates have seen it. Uh, and at the same time, I'd like to add that as a nation, we highly value and laud the valiant efforts of our armed forces, backed by the people, to repel this unprovoked aggression. We salute and are particularly grateful to the soldiers and families of all those who sacrificed their lives or were injured while defending Pakistan. We overwhelmed the Taliban and their affiliates who were armed with abandoned NATO wherewithal worth over $8 billion. And I think with all the support of India and also their sponsors, so we have sent very clear messages to all of them that it doesn't matter, really what they're armed with against the indomitable will, high motivation, grit, and gravitas of the armed forces and the people of Pakistan, and that we shall continue to resolutely respond, to all such acts of aggression, whether they are from any government or they are from terrorists, and that our response should be based and will be based at the time, place of our own choosing, and that is our right given to us by the United Nations Security Council Resolution, Article 51. And I think we have communicated to India, to Afghanistan, and to the rest of the world that the defense of Pakistan is impregnable, and that we still are a peace loving people. And of course, we are going to send a message to the government of Afghanistan that in future our foreign policy, the many incentives that we have been given.
Exactly. And sir, where we certainly stand steadfast in our resolve, we are behind our armed forces. We have seen how Pakistan army thwarted a major cross-border attack by Afghan Taliban and Indian-sponsored Fitna al-Khawarij and killed over 200 terrorists in our decisive response. That's one thing. But sir, how do you see this? Now imagine that in the recent times, Pakistan has witnessed quite a lot of diplomatic assent, so may it be with the United States of America, may it be with the Gaza ceasefire, may it be with the Middle Eastern countries. And we do know how, we have an ironclad friendship with China as well. Now, imagine that for a country which is being isolated, our neighbors, India, have actually found a nexus, to go with Afghanistan, where as Afghan Taliban Foreign Minister Amir Khan Muttaqi visits Pakistan's arch rival India, the timing of Kabul's aggression appears anything but accidental. It signals a coordinated political maneuver, laying bare the emerging Afghanistan-India nexus. How do you see this changing geopolitical situation where India is now looking towards Afghanistan to spread terrorism into Pakistan?
Well, I think they have always been using the Afghan soil against Pakistan, and perhaps even other countries. But I believe we should not be worried by that. We have been defeating those designs, various designs in the past. We have defeated them now, and we shall continue to do that. But what I was saying is that our foreign policy now, I think, needs to be reappraised, and it will be reappraised because the various incentives, that we have been giving to the present Afghan government, all out support in the political, diplomatic, and even economic domains, where we wanted to extend, the CPAC to them, and we have given them the status of a most favored nation in trades and other things. So I think that could then turn into disincentives if they continue, to listen to what India or the Indian dictations or to hurt our economic or national security interests. And I think all these things include the various sanctions of the UN Security Council and the United States on the present Afghan leaders. So they need to understand that, and the issue of the return of the Afghan refugees has now become even more imminent. And I think that needs to be implemented. And I think once that is done, the present interim Afghanistan government would by themselves understand to change their present policies of siding with the terrorists rather than with the people of Pakistan. And once they do that, I think then they will actually be benefiting their own people who, as you rightly said, are isolated, and they are in dire straits because of the policies of their rulers.
All right, thank you so much for highlighting that. And let's talk more about how Pakistan has actually exercised the right to self-defense, and we have actually neutralized multiple terrorist camps and hideouts, and we have sent a clear message that Pakistan will stand firm in the face of aggression. We will not be passive in the face of aggression. What do you have to say about these very strategic outputs that we have taken out of the terrorist hideouts?
Well, I think in addition to repelling the aggression, all the safe havens they were close to the borders of Pakistan. I think from where which were being used as shelters, safe houses, logistic bases by the Indian-sponsored terrorists, supported by the Afghan government, documented by the United Nations. They were taken out, they were destroyed. So I think that by itself is a major achievement. And if the terrorists they try to rebuild all those facilities, I think we have all the right to take them out again. But I think that will also expose to the entire world and to the people of Pakistan that the Taliban government are providing all kinds of support to them, which again will affect our approach, to our dealings with the present Afghan government. And as the Prime Minister very clearly said 2 days back, that the present interim Afghanistan government have to decide that are they with the terrorists or are they with the people of Pakistan. So I think that's a clear message which has been sent to them. And
Exactly. Exactly, sir. And over here at this point of time, because you did mention about the foreign policy as well. Now imagine that over I don't know how many decades we have seen that Pakistan have always made sure that we are going to host the Afghan refugees. Over more than 4 million Afghan refugees have been hosted in Pakistan. Now that the things were getting back to normal in Afghanistan, they were supposed to go back. We have issued visas, education visas. Afghani students would come over here to get education in the fields of medicine and engineering and whatnot. And we will. Do you think that we should continue to do that, or do you think that it's about time that we need to put a stop to that as well? Because the Honorable Prime Minister has already spoken about it, that the Afghan government really needs to think whether they are with the terrorists or not. How do you think that the foreign policy really needs to kind of make some tweaks within that, whether to make sure that that the safety of the Pakistani people is at the topmost priority?
okay, so I'll refer you back to what Mr. Muttaqi said in India, and he said that there is total peace now in Afghanistan. And if that is so, they must now by themselves ask the government of Pakistan, request the government of Pakistan to send back all the refugees who are here in Pakistan. Now they have no excuse. Even the UNHCR needs to know that I think these Afghan citizens must go back. And I think that will be in the interest of both Afghanistan as well as Pakistan. And I think Afghanistan is the only country in the world which is unwilling, to take back its own citizens, though, peace, as they say, has returned to Afghanistan. So I think initially this issue must be tackled together by the government of Pakistan, UNHCR, and the Afghan government, and must be implemented as soon as possible. Finally, I'd also like to say, that all those voices which were suggesting dialogue with terrorists, I think from some quarters, they now, I think, have been put to rest. And I think we have seen that there is no use of any dialogue with these people. And the only language that they understand is the one that we have just discussed in this program.
That's exactly the statement which was given by the DGISPR as well, that there's no dialogue with terrorists, and there's, I mean, I don't think that it's going to happen. But now, sir, let's speak about how the situation is going to change, because we do see the Afghanistan-India nexus and a rhetoric against Pakistan. Now, if we are to speak about it, do you think that, for Afghan Taliban to be, in the hands of the Indian people, where we have seen the false flag operation, Pahalgam, we have seen how we have been given the befitting response to the not very friendly neighbor India, and how they created a false narrative against Pakistan. Now, how do you think that Pakistan from here onwards needs to maneuver in order to make sure that the safety of Pakistan, or safeguarding our borders, is the topmost priority, which we have seen in the past as well? How do you think the situation needs to change? Obviously, no conversations with the terrorists, but still knowing that the Afghan Taliban are at the helm of affairs with the Indian people who certainly do not like peace in the region, and they would want to kind of create instability for Pakistan. How do you think now from here onwards Pakistan need to move ahead?
Well, I think I've already talked about how our own foreign policy needs to be reappraised. And that is, of course, also related now to full implementation of the National Action Plan, including the provincial action plan, the CTD departments. Then there is that regional approach. That is, Pakistan working with China, with Iran, with Russia, with the Middle Eastern countries, particularly Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, all of whom have, stakes in the security and stability of Pakistan, and even to some extent in Afghanistan. I think the United States and the EU also need to understand that whatever India is doing, I think that is untenable and inaccurate, and I think they need to penalize the Indian government for destabilizing this
Yes.
region, which is important, for the economic development of a lot of people. And I think the United States can
You've
play.
highlighted that very accurately. You've highlighted it very accurately, and let's actually move on to the topic at hand, which is that Pakistan's stance on Kashmir has always been very principled. So, in this recent visit of the Afghan Taliban's visit to India, the foreign minister's visit to India, there was a joint statement which stated that Kashmir is a part of India. This actually violates the UN resolutions that were passed for Kashmir. So, how does this actually highlight India's role in destabilizing the region? Have they still not learned their lessons with the false flag Pahalgam operation?
Okay, so when you go and read the official joint statement of the two countries, I don't think the words are the same as is are they understood. I'm not aware of his exact wordings where he has claimed that Indian held Kashmir is part of India. But if he has done that, I think the government of Pakistan and the Foreign Office has very clearly and rightly, responded to them. And I think it should be taken up at all levels with the interim government of Afghanistan, and they owe us an apology. And the earlier, they do so, the better it would be. Not only their foreign office, but also their Ministry of Defense for their unprovoked aggression against Pakistan.
Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. Thank you so much for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, we were in conversation with Lieutenant General retired Raza Muhammad Khan, former President NDU. But very quickly, before I actually head out towards a short break, there's a small message for the people who reside within Pakistan, people or Afghanistan, people who are sane. Now imagine that Pakistan, ladies and gentlemen, is desirous of seeing a peaceful, stable, and not just that, regionally connected and prosperous Afghanistan. And I think it's about high time that the Taliban government really needs to fulfill their commitment which they have made to us, and for Pakistan to have those brotherly relations on the basis of the religion Islam that we follow, that we have been making sure that that for all the Afghan refugees to come, for the Afghan students to kind of come over here and study, because the conditions weren't really very conducive in Afghanistan. I think it's a question on behalf of Pakistan to all of those Afghani people who have sane minds out there to think about it, to sit back and make sure that that you actually give back Pakistan to that beautiful, memories that Pakistan have given to Afghani people when the environment wasn't really very conducive back in Afghanistan. I think it's the time that the Taliban government really needs to fulfill its commitment, because Pakistan wants peace and stability in the region, and that we are regionally so very well connected that prosperity comes to Afghanistan and Pakistan. Both Pakistan wants peace, and that's it. And for all of those people who might have been thinking that with all of this we can destabilize Pakistan, well, certainly you know for a fact how our armed forces are very well equipped, and no matter what, they will always safeguard the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Pakistan. It's a question mark, and it's a question which I leave to the sane Afghani people who are out there. We're heading out towards a short break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Welcome back to all the people who have stayed tuned. We are still World This Morning on Pakistan TV, and we are going to talk about an integral subject right now, which is that Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is going to be traveling to Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt to attend an international peace summit on Gaza. And it is very important to talk about this because it was highlighted in the United Nations General Assembly, where Pakistan, along with 7 other Muslim countries, highlighted how peace in Gaza must be obtained, and this summit is being led by Abdul al-Sisi and the US President Donald Trump. We will be speaking about why this is very integral. We have a guest who is very well versed in this topic. He happens to be Jauhar Saleem, who is the former Foreign Secretary. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for joining us, Jauhar Saab. So Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif will be attending this meeting in Egypt. What does Pakistan intend to achieve from this? Will we see Gaza thriving with peace? All right, speaking on this subject, Shahzad, I think we really need to highlight how the Pakistan's United Nations General Assembly speech given by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif actually garnered so many views. He gave such a powerful message in that speech, highlighting the Palestinian and Gaza issue as well. And it was this speech that actually led to maybe this summit taking place. It was Pakistan's stance since day one, since Palestine came in occurrence, right? How we backed up.
Which is why, Eesha, I would want to kind of highlight it over here. Now, imagine that we keep on talking about the recent times, how Pakistan had witnessed our diplomatic ascent. Now, I think what the most important aspect over here is how, you've mentioned the President of Egypt, His Excellency Abdul, and the President of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump, has actually invited the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif, to be over there. And not just that, I think the Prime Minister will be accompanied by the Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign Minister, and other senior ministers during the visit. In addition to this, the Sharm el-Sheikh summit is the result of the diplomatic efforts that began on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly's 80th session in New York last month. The Prime Minister of Pakistan, along with the leaders of 7 Arab Islamic countries, Egypt, Jordan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, Indonesia, and Turkey, attended a summit-level meeting with the President of the United States on 23rd September 2025 to explore avenues for achieving peace in Gaza. Now, it's literally a hallmark, and it's because of the fact that, imagine that, I do believe that from today onwards the hostages will be released, and that's one thing which will certainly bring that peace that we would want in Gaza as well. So Jauhar Saleem Saab is with us. I hope that we are audible. Jauhar Saab, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining us.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम बिल्कुल भी
Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's talk about how Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif is going to be attending this International Peace Summit on Gaza in Egypt, and how will this unfold for Pakistan's stance and for peace in Gaza?
जी this occasion of course is like it's full of great significance because after 2 years of carnage that we have seen, an unprecedented level of not just violence but sort of like really a travesty of all human values in Gaza, where we saw 70,000 people losing their lives, 2/3 of them women and children. We've seen 90% of Gaza turning into rubble. We've seen situation with no food, no electricity, no water, no healthcare, no schools, no basic amenities of life at all. So it is really very auspicious. I think the entire world has taken a sigh of relief that those 2.2 million people, which had been basically literally between life and death, they will be finally rescued. At least they will get the relief and sustenance that they desperately require. That's one thing. The other thing is that, okay, this fighting between Hamas and Israel, as it stops, that's a phase one. Like Hamas releases all the remaining hostages that they have, which are about 48 in numbers. 20 of them are alive. The rest are dead bodies, of course. On the other hand, Israelis are set to release 2,000 of Palestinian prisoners. 250 of those prisoners were basically facing life sentences, while the others had been arrested during this conflict. So that is the first phase. The first phase is likely to probably possibly go smoothly. But after that, the next phases are going to be very challenging. Because right now, as you...
And Jauhar Saab, while we are at it, just to kind of break it to the world as well, that the news just in is that several hostages have been handed over to Red Cross by Hamas. So that's the first step as well. It looks like as if, there's going to be a long-lasting peace in the region. And not just that, where we speak about it, Hamas is set to begin releasing, where we did mention right at the beginning of the show, nearly 20 surviving Israeli hostages in exchange for close to 2,000 Palestinian prisoners held by Israel for decades. Now, what United States President Donald Trump did say, that the first phase is actually what makes the war in Gaza stands over now for as long as that we could see. And we have seen that, how guarantees have been given by the United States government and the Trump administration to Hamas that, that the ceasefire will continue to stand tall.
See, that's true. But at the same time, I can tell you that this first phase, it's likely to go smoothly, although there still may be some hiccups. But after that, it's going to be very challenging, despite the guarantees, despite all the Islamic countries and all the other countries that are supporting it, despite the sort of total commitment that President Trump is showing to this agreement, because for him, this is probably his biggest achievement of this term of his presidency so far. Because why do I say that? Look, Hamas is supposed to disarm after this. Israelis are supposed to withdraw, of course. They're withdrawn a bit, but they're supposed to withdraw much farther than that. Now, we already see media reports that Hamas has started taking control or resuming control of the areas which have been vacated by Israel. Now, that could become a source of conflict in the coming days, because as per the agreement, there's supposed to be like some Palestinian technocrats who would sort of take care of the day-to-day governance of this region, and then they'll be supervised by sort of international body of like the Board of Peace, which is going to be set up, which President Trump is going to head. Then probably they were going to put some other world leaders into that, or former world leaders. But that part is going to be very tricky, because Hamas is not just going to be disarming very easily, and Israel is not very reliable, because Israel's domestic politics is very complicated. Netanyahu he is in power because of the votes that he has. He's got a minority government. His government is basically afloat because of the votes of some extreme radical parties there, and they were dead against this agreement. They want the Palestinians to be displaced. Some of them, they want to just expand upon illegal settlements, not just in Gaza but also in the West Bank. So with this type of political situation in Israel, there'll be a lot of pressure on Netanyahu to like in the future phases, the phase 2 and phase 3, and whatever further phases are to come, to adopt a very inflexible position, and that will create a whole lot of problems for the implementation of this agreement. So I see it as very challenging. The saving grace is, like you said, that they are the guarantors. President Trump is there. His his reputation would be at stake. So that is a big plus. There are other Arab countries who are who are guarantors. There are other Western countries who can put some pressure on Israel as well. But primarily, it will be it will come down to President Trump, how much he can influence Netanyahu when the push comes to shove. But on the positive side, I think that the very important thing is that the relief and the rehabilitation which Gaza desperately needs.
You've highlighted this all very accurately, Mr. Jauhar, and let's talk about the issue at hand, and that is that Israel and Hamas are actually not going to be attending this summit. Do you think this deal will actually be effective given Israel's history of blatant violations in the past, committing atrocious violations of ceasefires?
Yeah, this is symbolic, of course, because they would not have interacted. All the negotiations that have taken place have been indirect negotiations between them because Israel is not willing to interact directly with Hamas and vice versa. So that was one reason. But the other reason was that, because they are going to adopt very inflexible attitude, the Israelis, in the phases yet to come. So they didn't really want to kind of put too much of their reputation at stake by attending this signing ceremony. Hamas, of course, also, and I think in the coming days, they will also be raising a lot of objections to how the Israelis will deal with the situation. So I think, that absence of both the protagonists, the parties which are actually signing the agreement from this ceremony, shows how many complications await the implementation of this agreement. But yet, having stated all that, I think it's very important that this ceasefire holds. It's not just important for the people of Gaza, for the Palestinians. It's important for the whole region and in many ways for the whole world, because on this issue, the whole world has spoken. The conscience of humanity, I think, was really disturbed, and that is why what happens in Gaza is I think is being watched by billions of people around the world, and everybody is tied to to the future there, because nobody wants to see a repeat of what has happened there in the last 2 years, which was totally inhuman and a travesty of all values that humanity stands for.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Mr. Jauhar, for being with us. Thank you so much for your time. And for people who are actually watching us right now, as of all over the globe, ladies and gentlemen, the latest in is that Hamas releases 7 Israeli prisoners to the International Committee of the Red Cross in Gaza. And, to kind of sum up, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like as if with this release of these 7 prisoners, 7 Israeli prisoners, looks like as if everything will be in order, to make sure that we maintain that ceasefire in Israel, in between Israel and Gaza. Now, I think that's quite a lot of, daily updates for people who are out there. Let's just move on to a bit of sports, because I'm a sports guy myself. Eesha, you are a sports girl yourself as well. So I think what best could it be that we bring to your attention, what's happening in the latest in the sports as well, where Iraq and the United Arab Emirates recorded vital victories to stay in contention for next year's FIFA World Cup, as both sides battle to crucial wins in the Asian qualifying round. In Jeddah, Iraq defeated Indonesia 1-0 to maintain hopes of reaching their first World Cup since 1986. Substitute Zidane Iqbal scored the decisive goal in the 76th minute after capitalizing on a defensive error. Indonesia created early chances but failed to convert, while Zed Tessin was sent off in stoppage time as Iraq held firm for their win. Well, that's the one that I brought. What about you, Eesha?
All right, we have some interesting women cricket updates, which everyone is obviously very excited about, and that is the Australian women team defeated India by 3 wickets in the 13th match of the ICC Women's World Cup 2025. PTV Sports HD telecasted the match live. Earlier, batting first, India were bowled out for 330 runs in 48.5 overs. The openers put on a strong 155-run partnership for the first wicket, and the runs with the 10th fours and a 6, and Australia's Annabelle took a 5-wicket and Sophie took a 3-wicket claim, and you know, it's great to see Australia thriving and at least beating India in cricket.
I don't know. I think it's for Pakistani women cricket team to kind of do that as well, and that's when it should actually make us happy. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, the test match in between South Africa, the test champions, and Pakistan is actually underway. It's the day 2 and the first session is going on. In today, we've lost 1 more wicket. So just when we started the program, we were 5 wickets down, but now we are 6 wickets down as well with 362 on the board. To speak more about it, we're very lucky that we've been joined by Mr. Syed Haider. Hello, Haider. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you feeling today?
How are you? I'm fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So 362 for 6. Looks like Pakistan is dominating as of now against the test champion South Africa.
Absolutely, Pakistan showed very good performance yesterday. They have batted well. They have controlled the run rate, and they have rotated the strike nicely. That is a very important thing in Test cricket nowadays, modern cricket. That if you are not getting the big shot, then you have to rotate the strike, and they have done very well. Captain Shan Masood and Imam Ulak, they have done well. And then afterward, Salman Ali Agha and Mohammad Rizwan, they have showed their very good batting talent. It's a really good sign for the Pakistan cricket that the batters, they are in a good shape there. And unfortunately, Babar Azam, the people were expecting a big inning from Babar Azam, but he was felled between 20 and 30. And a lot of times we have seen then he has been felled between 20 and 30. And yesterday has happened again. But in end of the day, Pakistan have got very good start, good runs in the first day, 313 runs, and then today in the first hour strike, they have rotated well and they have got 50 runs plus. That's a very good sign for this test match. And I understand that if the South Africa cannot bat like the Pakistan, then Pakistan in a very good position to control the test match.
Exactly, we will speak about it. But Haider, since you've touched upon, how Babar Azam has been, going back to the dugout with 20 and 30 odd runs, but the news is all over, where how, within the Test Championship cycle, Babar Azam actually happens to be one of the few cricketers who've actually scored 3,000 runs as well. How do you think Babar needs to kind of jump back into the form? We have seen him struggle against the spin as well, and that it looks like as if it's a pertinent issue which he's not able to resolve as of now. So may it be T20 cricket, which unfortunately he's not a part of the team, but in Test cricket, 23 is certainly not a score which we expect from Babar Azam.
Yes, very easy. In such type of the cases we have seen in the past, our big players like Zahir Abbas, Majid Khan, or Javed Miadan, they have gone to the domestic cricket or first class cricket, and they have played there and they have got a form back. This is very important for the Babar Azam also. Babar Azam is not playing the Qaid Azam Trophy. Rizwan has played, and Salman Ali Agha and other players they have played, and they have got definitely good training there, good batting approach. They have bat, and therefore they are getting the benefit there. So Babar, it's very important that he should go for the long duration of cricket, first class cricket, domestic 4-day cricket. It is important, but he is concentrating only if he is not in the Pakistan team. Either he is going to relax and making the holidays, or he's going to play some franchise leagues. It is not an issue, it is not a solution for his issue. He should go for the competing cricket, like 4 days cricket in Pakistan or out of Pakistan, in county cricket. But county cricket is not no more in the winter. So only the way that he should go for the Qaid Azam Trophy after these 2 test matches, then he is free and should play. And Babar is still Pakistan's best batter. His technique is very good, but only his concentration level is at this moment is shaky. Therefore, he's not getting the runs he has.
And Mr. Syed, Haider, let's start. Thank you so much for highlighting all those integral facts. It was wonderful to hear about that. And just to wrap this up, let's speak about how Faisalabad is actually going to be hosting the first one-day series after 17 years. Just to wrap this up in one line, how do you think it's going to unfold
Well,
for
it is
Pakistan's
Kara.
confidence?
It's very good announcement, very good move by the PCB. Faisalabad is our historical region. There we have seen big test matches. Pakistan beat in India in the 1978, and afterward Pakistan beat in Australia, Sri Lanka, England, all over. So after some time, Pakistan Cricket Board, they have ignored Faisalabad. I think it's a very good move by the PCB chairman Mohsen Naqvi to revolve the cricket there in Faisalabad.
Glory days. Thank you so much for highlighting that. We would love to relive our glory days, and it was wonderful having you on this segment. And wrapping this up, it is Eesha and Shahzad Khan. Thank you so much for watching, and catch us tomorrow live at 10 a.m.
Bye. Have a good
Bye.
day. Have a great week ahead. Bye.